Hey everyone, it's Cast a Spell, and today I want to talk about what it means to navigate thyself or to know thyself. I literally deal with this consistently. What the left-hand path is self-deification. Okay, self-deification, that's a process. Okay, that is a whole process. And what is self-deification if not knowing thyself? You have to know thyself in order to self-deify. So, moving on, to know thyself, I like to call the self the honest self. You're not just sticking with the higher self, because I know a lot of people like to just stay on healing and dealing with your higher self. Fuck your higher self, okay? It's not just about your higher self. It's also about your lower self. You didn't even get to the left or the right self, not the in or the out self. Knowing thyself is not limited to just your higher self. To know thyself, to navigate thyself, is to understand thyself, is to map out yourself, your honest self. And that's why I like to stick with the term honest self, because there's no bullshit lies there that you're trying to push under the rug or ignore or avoid. So what does it mean to know thyself? To know thyself is to dive deeper into the things that you don't want to look at. And I'm not talking about just your physical personality, not at all. To navigate thyself means you have to journey. And that term is used a lot as well, but you have to journey through thyself. So that means every pit stop, you have to understand where you're at, why you're there, what's going on, what are the spirits that reside in this realm. To self-deify means to deify aspects of yourself, parts of self that can bring upon clarity, that can bring upon purpose, and you can understand and become more intimate with these parts of self, these spirits, these deities. To understand the deity that you're working with is to break down an aspect of self. Okay, so if you're self-deifying and you find a part of your spirit that just can't stop eating and can't stop fucking with the things that harm you, just overindulgence, that already has a name. It's called gluttony. But it might be Jerome for you. You know what I mean? Like, to deify. It doesn't matter what the fuck you call it, but you have to call it by a fucking name and deal with it. They're in there. You can't deny them and you can't run away from it. And the more you run away, the more it's going to fucking chase you. So if you deal with it honestly, if you get to understand thyself, which is navigating yourself, which is knowing thyself, no one can fuck with you at that point. To know thyself means you are going to be in the mud at moments, okay? It's not always pretty dealing with self. Self isn't supposed to be pretty. Who said it was supposed to be fucking pretty? But it is stunning. That one thing is for sure. It is motherfucking stunning. So, navigating thyself is navigating the spirit realm. Why do I say this? Because that's exactly what spirits are. They're aspects of self. They're pit stops on the journey to navigate thyself. So when you stop at particular places where you're journeying through self, what actual self is, not your body, mind you. Your body is a dense aspect in this physical realm that can reflect your soul, yourself, and your body, but your body is not the self. It's a representation. It's a representation, a refraction of self, but it is not self. Okay? So when you're navigating your honest self, you're understanding these spirits, you're understanding the deities that preside in those particular realms where you're learning, where you're navigating. Okay? So understanding thyself is pretty simple in terms of what to do. Don't hide. Don't avoid. Do not avoid self, because you will find yourself journeying and ending up at the place where you were avoiding the most. The more you run from something, the faster it catches up to you. So don't run away from the things that look really shitty, because it's not supposed to be pretty. Point blank. If you really are about the left-hand path or the self-deification, navigating thyself is first and foremost the thing you need to do. Like, to journey, like the journey that everyone talks about. isn't just how much of a good person you can be throughout the day. That's basic shit. You know how to be a quote-unquote good person. It's not fucking hard. The tools are right there. Fuck being a good person. To navigate thyself is looking through the disgusting parts of self as well. And this is not about being a good person. This is about understanding what self is, what deities and spirits that are working with you, that are there. Because when you really dive deeper into this, the spirits were always there. They were never not there. But you have not been aware of it, or you have not journeyed to that area of self yet. That's why navigating thyself is knowing thyself. So, moving forward, the more layers that you uncover within self, the things that are hidden, the things that can't be shown to you yet because you haven't passed this particular part. Like, look at it like a map. You're creating a new map. You're in a new land. You are creating a map, so you're saying, this is where I'm at right now. And the more you journey, you find different places, different realms, so to speak. And you find an indigenous colony. All right. There's a chief in that colony. That chief is the quote unquote head of that entire area. You can call that a deity, if you will. That particular deity is the head of that entire realm that you just found. That being said, to know thyself is to understand the customs, is to understand how that spirit or that deity works, how that realm works, what goes on there. You know what I mean? Is to not try to ultimately change everything, but it's to understand it in the first place. Why does it move like this? Because even if you did want to change or to maneuver or to work with that particular realm, you have to know how the chief works. So that's what these spirits are. That's what these deities are. When you get to navigate thyself, you get to understand which spirit is overlooking this particular area in self and how that spirit works in that realm of self, as well as what can you do to make that work or to balance it or to feed into it. So navigating thyself is navigating the spirit realm or the realm of spirits. So understanding thyself, you end up understanding the deities and the spirits that work in those realms, those pit stops, those areas in self, those layers. It's necessary if you want to know thyself. So on an occultist standpoint, you don't just stop at what you physically are. It's not about what you physically are, but what embodies your physical vessel. Okay? When you get to know thyself, you get to know how to handle all this shit around you. But so all in all, navigating thyself or knowing thyself is navigating the realm of spirits. You're understanding how these spirits take over this realm, what their name is, how to address them, how to conjure and summon them. If you know how to create a realm where it works even better for you, you can manipulate this realm because it's yours. It's the self, okay? Your honest self. But what deities are and what spirits are fragments of your honest self. They're reflections. They're expressed when you see red and you're in anger. They're expressed when you're overindulging. Okay? That gluttony is a spirit. You know, just for an example, gluttony is a spirit. If you overindulge, what's really overindulging? There's a spirit in there that will reflect gluttonous behavior. But it's something else. You have to give it a name. You have to understand what that is. So if you did want to change it, if you did want to manipulate it and make it do something else, you have to understand why it's working, what's already feeding it, why is it triggered, etc. To know thyself is not an easy task, and it's not supposed to be easy, but it's worthwhile. Yeah, just wanted to come out with a quick video. I'm definitely going to go deeper into this topic. This will be a mini series because this is going to dive deeper into spirit work, working with spirits and deities. And in order to work with these deities and spirits, you have to already know how to navigate thyself. So there's a step to this. There's a process to this. There's order in the chaos. There's both sides of the coin here. In order to know thyself, you cannot neglect the other side of the coin. So we're going to definitely go through this in processes. But other than that, that's the video for the day. And be sure to visit occultcornerstore.com. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.